So 4 to 5 bookmakers in Las Vegas told ESPN that the Warriors would be favored over that 72-win Bulls team. You played on the Dynasty Showtime Lakers. Who's the greatest team of all time?
The greatest team of all times is the, 1988 Los Angeles Lakers.
A little biased there, huh?
You know, I'm a little biased, but, I love that Chicago team with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. You know, I was a big fan of those guys and the way they played the game. But if that 88 team that we had, who had won 13 straight playoff games the night before the series started, and Jalen knows this as well as Marcellus, I tore my hamstring. Magic pulled his in game one. We go on to lose those next 4 games. If we're healthy, there's no telling, and there's no way we would sweep that team in Detroit because that team was very good. But it would have been a great series, and I think we'd have won that series, though.
What about the Bulls-Warriors? Who are you taking in that?
I'm taking the Bulls. Right now, I'm taking the Bulls. And I think just because of the fact that you got MJ and you got Scottie, you got Rodman, you got all those guys who were just such tremendous defenders that you could put MJ on a Curry. You could put Scottie Pippen on a Kevin Durant. So from a defensive standpoint, I thought those guys were so good defensively that they can guard pretty much anybody. And the way they ran their offense and everything kind of ran through Michael and Scottie, I look at that team in the 96 era with Chicago, the way they played, that I don't think Golden State could beat them right now. But, different eras, the way they're playing right now, I don't know if anybody could beat them.
Different eras, different rules, hand checking, legal defense, the ages of Chicago, 35-year-old Rodman, 33-year-old Jordan. You got a 32-year-old Pippen, and then no one on the Warriors that is in their core 4 is over 30. So it's a young running team versus a Bulls team. I'm torn on that one. At first you hear it and you say, Bulls, and then you say,
you got to think about it, right?
Maybe that's some bull.
You got to think about it.
So you look at what Golden State is doing right now. One, do you see any way that Cleveland can come back in this series?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a series. I still think that.
A series meaning?
I think it's going to be a series in meaning that, now, I'm sorry because I love the Cleveland fans. I was here for 3 years. They're unbelievable. But Golden State's going to win it in 6. But, I still think.
You still ain't let it go, huh? Your Cleveland days. Let them go.
But I'm just calling it like I see it. And Golden State right now went 7 games last year with no disrespect to, Harrison Barnes. But Kevin Durant is a different animal. And you put him in that lineup with the team that they have now and the fact that they lost last year. So they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder right now going on with Steph and the rest of those guys. And then you add a Kevin Durant. It's going to make it very tough. But, the one thing about the Cavs, and especially with LeBron on this team, you don't count those guys out. Anytime you got the king on that team, they got a chance. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Golden State also in their coaching. I mean, they got tremendous players on the court. It seems like they got tremendous coaching staff as well. Luke Walton came in, had a tremendous stint. Then you see Mike Brown undefeated in the playoffs. But Steve Kerr came back game 2, and you saw that offensive explosion. Can you tell us how much he means to them in terms of his coaching experience?
Well, anytime you have a general that's missing for a period of time, the troops are always going to be a little bit leery on if he's going to come back and be able to lead the way he led when he left. When Steve Kerr came back, that just gave them an extra boost and an extra, that extra confidence that they need to know that they can go out there and play the game the way they know they can play. So it's always important when you have your head coach there, the man that you listen to his voice on a day-to-day basis. He has a sense of calmness when he's on that bench that I think that he brings to that team. But he also gives them a sense of confidence to knowing that they can just go out there and play their style of basketball. And we know the way he reacts with his players and the way he interacts with his players is something that is probably marveled by a lot of us as coaches because they seem to have a harmony about themselves as a unit. That right now, they're in a fishbowl. Everybody's in looking in, trying to figure out what they're doing, and they're just keeping everything simple. And I think Steve just brings that, that added dimension to them as an organization and as a team to just kind of let them go out there and do the things that they do and they do those things naturally, I think.
Molly said it earlier. It's not truly a series until the home team loses a game.
Absolutely.
Now, Ty Lue is in that position to where if they go down 0-3, I'm going to get out of Wally's broom for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They will be getting swept.
Yeah.
A tombo, a thing, whatever. They will be getting swept. So I think they're going to win Game 3, but it's going to have to be the role players. What can he do to get those guys going?
You talking about Tyrone, right?
Ty Lue.
You know, it's hard when you got role players that aren't playing to their capabilities, you know. But the one thing that is good for them right now is that they're back home. You know, and role players play better when they're at home. They're more comfortable in their situation of being at home, their environment of being at home. They know they got the home crowd fans behind them. But those role players know that they got to show up. You know, J.R. Smith, who I love, Tristan Thompson, who I love, you know, those guys, they got to come big tonight. You know, I mean, not tonight, but tomorrow night if they expect to win this series. LeBron's doing everything. We know that. You know, I mean, he can't do much more. You know, and I think second half of the games, he's just running out of gas because he has to do it on both ends of the floor. He needs some of those guys to alleviate some of that pain, some of that pressure on the offensive end. They got to start making shots. If they do that, then I think they got a chance to win.
Byron, explain this to me. When the role players aren't really getting going, is that more on Ty Lue or is that more on LeBron to kind of garner them?
To me, it's more on the role players themselves.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I played with Magic Johnson and Kareem and James Worthy and all those guys, and there were series where I wasn't having good series, and I had to take it upon myself to get going. You know, so I don't blame it on the coach. I don't blame it on the star players. You know, sometimes as a role player, you got to figure out a way to get your butt in that game and get involved in it, and that's on them. You know, so I'm looking at, you know, two of the guys that I just mentioned who I love to death. They got to take this upon themselves to come out Game 3 and be ready to go. Now, LeBron is being the facilitator and Kyrie is a facilitator. You got to get them a couple of shots early to see if you can get them off, but they got to make it a point to be a little bit more aggressive.